Paul lived the message he proclaimed. God radically saved Paul and called him to spread God's message to those who had not yet heard it. Along the way, Paul saw many come to saving faith in Jesus and was a vital catalyst for the planting of churches throughout Asia Minor. Timothy was one such convert who came to faith during Paul's first missionary journey. The strong paternal language that Paul uses to speak of Timothy leads many to surmise that Timothy was converted directly under Paul's teaching. Whatever the case, Timothy's newfound faith was evident to those in his hometown, and when Paul returned to the region, Timothy was a clear choice to take along for his ongoing missionary labors. For many years, Timothy accompanied Paul in his travels, often venturing out on his own to work among the churches that Paul could not visit himself. Paul's trust in Timothy allowed him to send him to difficult churches in the hopes that Timothy could root the believers there in gospel fidelity and faithful worship. The church in Ephesus was one such church. The church faced numerous threats in the forms of satanic attack, false teaching, impoverished leadership, and internal divisiveness. Timothy was sent by Paul to lead the church during a critical season in the life of the newly formed congregation. Paul wrote 1 Timothy to his young protege from Macedonia in an effort to encourage him during his daunting work. He reminded Timothy of his great love for him and the clear call God had placed on Timothy's life. Now, in Ephesus, Timothy should apply theological acumen and the leadership savvy that he had observed from Paul throughout the years. Paul gave instructions for the appointment of godly leaders and conduct in Christian worship. Timothy would also have to consider how to provide care for church members, such as widows who would need special consideration by the leaders of the church. While Timothy was a young pastor and the leadership of the church was complex, Paul reminded Timothy that his confidence was not in his wisdom or ability, but it was in the Lord. He must not let others look down on him because of his age, but set an example to others for godly living and maturity. He could do this because of Jesus, who served as his mediator and advocate with the Father. What Timothy lacked in age and experience, he could find in dependence on the wisdom that comes from God above. For there is one God, and there is one mediator between God and men, the man Christ Jesus. 1 Timothy 2:5.